Well, hello there. This is Lichess Chess Noob learning and having fun with chess. I've got a really nice short video aimed probably more at beginner players, and we're going to be looking at the importance of looking for, searching for, hunting for tactics in the game of chess, particularly as you move into the middle game. So it's all good and well to play a tricky opening, maybe an opening gambit, but once you won a little bit of an advantage, to convert that to a win, you need to be able to, find the ways of capitalizing on your advantage. Well, let's go have a look. So I've got the black pieces here. This was a 10-minute plus 5-second increment game I played on Lichess, and I got the Englund Gambit accepted. So white plays a 1 d4, very, very principled, very civilized, and against that I play the very, very spicy Englund Gambit. They accept. And now knight, very, very normal here. They do the bishop, queen, a knight, and basically tension on that e5 pawn in Englund Gambit. If you're allowed to capture it, you should. But here we now have the Englund Complex. And this is a killer black queen to b4 tactic. Notice it's an absolute triple fork. Absolute because white must respond to it because there's a check. Queen also attacks the b pawn and also white's bishop on f4. All right, so what do we do? Well, let's go take a look. The best move for white here is backward bishop move to d2. By far, that's the best move. And after queen captures, we sort of move down that main line of the Englund Complex. It's very tricky. White often will make a mistake, but that is the most accurate move. And if white knows what they're doing, they can basically refute the Englund Gambit and the Englund Complex. Interestingly enough, even though most of the time white will find that, about 30% of the time, they'll play a move that hangs this bishop. So really important to sort of keep your eye on, on things like forks. So both forks you have on your opponent, but also where your opponent has it on yourself. In this game, they develop the knight. It's a blunder. Hangs the bishop. No reason not to capture. Capture. And very often in this position, white will resign. Now, I've certainly have lost full pieces before and played on and be able to turn things around and win. So in this game, white chooses to play on, which is absolutely great. I really sort of admire that sort of spirit. But how will we, now that we've clearly gotten an advantage in the opening, as we move on, how do we convert this into a win? White, chases the queen. One of the risks with having your queen out is it can be chased. So here, number of options. You can try to pull it back like this, but what I decided to do is to try to keep the queen active. So back to the b4 where it was before. Once again, we've got an attack on the b pawn, but it also pins that knight. So pins are useful. Now I can't really do anything with that at the moment, but when you have these tactics, they build up. It's like putting them in a bank. It makes it more difficult for your opponent to play. And by having these resources available, it creates the possibility of a winning attack in the future. It's like banking away these tactics. Let's see what happens. All right, so white decides to defend their b pawn by pushing forward. That's fine. What next? Well, potentially, I want to trade things off. I'm materially up, so if I could, I want to do balanced piece trades, and that simplifies the game and maybe move towards a winning endgame, especially if I don't have a obvious mating attack in the middle game. So let's try to trade things off. So d6. Potentially trade things off here. That allows the queen to come back if they trade. Also opens up that light square diagonal for my bishop. So that's good because I want to develop. So they capture, and now this brings, I could have done it this way in the game. I decided to capture with my bishop because develop the other bishop, and this bishop now also has vision on h2. And look here, with the sort of damage pawn structure on their queen side, white is probably going to try to castle king side. So this is likely to be useful in the future. They develop their their bishop, makes sense. Yep, it looks like they're going to castle kingside. And here, the knight advances forward to e5, another fork of the knight and bishop. And here, because I'm willing to trade, this probably is going to force them to trade knights. And that's what they do. Captures back. Remember, that knight is still pinned, and also because they pushed the b pawn on. There is now an exposed long dark square diagonal. The bishop wins tempo on white's rook. White decides to develop their queen. Makes a lot of sense. Looks like there's a scholar's mate-ish sort of attack. This is probably not tactically not the right move. So when you move the queen out early, there's definitely a risk. The queen can get chased, it can get trapped. Now you might ask, I just played the Englund Gambit with the Englund Complex. Didn't I move my queen out? Now the difference is, this is part of an established line of theory. So I know what usually happens with that queen and where it can go. However, this is free form. They don't have a lot of other development, and this is potentially a little bit risky, as we will see. So they're trying to win tempo, so they don't have to respond to this right away. However, I need to respond to this, but I can do that with just another developing move with my knight. So knight to f6, very natural move, potential castling ability here. That is still attacked, that is still pinned. Okay, they now move their rook. And here we see the risk of having the queen in this position. What you might not have noticed, and what I actually kind of thought might occur in the game, is that their queen is now trapped because I've just got so many pieces developed. And now bishop to g4, every single escape square for the queen is covered by one of my pieces. They're forced to trade the queen. They should probably just let that rook go, or done something else and trade their rook for my bishop. They capture, they've lost the queen. So here, completely winning for me now. And in fact, I've also got this 2 attackers on h2. If they castle that side, that's a potential very winning attack on their king. So I don't think I even need to trade down to a winning endgame now. I can probably win in the middle game with a checkmate attack. All right, they short castle. And what am I going to do here? Well, I long castle first, because firstly, that pins their knight, to their rook. So if they move, I'm willing to immediately trade. They do move, and here I trade. Captures, trying to simplify where you can. Or rook to d8. Well, let's trade again. They're probably not going to do that. That's not good for them. That is unfavorable for them. They move their rook back. That's fine. Now queen to d6, forming the battery with the bishop. 1, 2, 3 pieces now on h2. They've only got 2 defenders, which means I can attack that pawn. I can capture that pawn safely. They take a piece. That doesn't really achieve very much. I force the check. They take this way, but now, bang, that is checkmate. And that is how you use tactics to try to layer things up to get a winning attack. The big takeaway from this game is to always search for tactics, things like pins, things like forks, things like discovered checks, and see how you can make use of them, potentially just adding them to your bank of resources, because these are what are going to allow for a winning attack in the middle game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.